PAL Lighting is a globally distributed line of wirelessly controlled underwater LED lighting and controls for pools, spas, landscapes, water features, and outdoor accent lighting. Our passion is to be able to light up any space, whether it's a pool or spa, an outdoor living area, or anything else in between. The result is the most powerful, reliable, and diverse line of wirelessly controlled lights in the aquatics industry that are fully compatible with today's major pool automation systems. Light up the night with PAL Lighting. Ready to learn more? Visit us on the web today at pallighting.com.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast. Today I'm chatting with Tom Dankel, Vice President of Aquamatic Cover Systems, leader in automatic pool safety cover systems since 1980. Thanks for taking time out to be with us again on the show, Tom.
Well, Joe, thank you for having me back. I really enjoyed the opportunity to speak with you last year and look forward to chatting with you again today. Thank you.
You know, when you were on our show last spring, we got introduced to your product line. You gave us a 10,000-foot overview of some of Aquamatic's flagship products. I know we got a lot of questions from our listeners about one system that we didn't really get a chance to speak about that is a really important cornerstone of your product line, and that's the solar hydromatic cover. And we're going to discuss that a bit today, but for those listening in who haven't tuned in on your previous appearance on our show, I thought a good starting point would be if we first started by having you introduce yourself to our listeners and give them a little overview about Aquamatic Cover Systems, your role with the firm, and its history in the marketplace.
Well, sure. Thank you. Well, as you did in your introduction, my name is Tom Dankel. I'm the Vice President of Aquamatic Cover Systems, and this is my 40th year here at Aquamatic. You know, we started actually in the late 70s up in Vancouver, British Columbia, and came to California in 1980, became a California corporation at that time. And certainly at that time, the automatic covers were very much in their infancy within the pool industry. And in that period of 4+ decades, we've been known as the innovators. We have more patent technology than all the other cover manufacturers combined. I mean, they're doing a good job in what they do, but we're taking it a step farther by raising the bar with some of the design and integration that we've come up with over the last 40+ years.
Thanks, Tom. So solar is definitely the rage right now. I mean, pool owners want to know, how can I have solar heat my pool? How can I save money on equipment operations with solar? Heck, there's even a whole cottage industry of solar pool cleaners popping up. So solar is definitely a hot and emerging market for manufacturers like you. But Aquamatic is, again, one of the first in this space from the automatic pool cover standpoint. What inspired Aquamatic to develop the solar hydromatic pool cover? And what are your future plans for innovation in this product line?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we're very excited about this product because it's giving us the opportunity to now install covers on maybe pools that, while the installation could be done, it would have driven the costs up. Now, when I say that, when we're talking about this product is ideal on retrofit applications. Okay, where, if I can just backtrack for a moment, with new construction, when you build a cover recess, you can put the hydraulic chase like for ours, or if it's a brand X cover, the electric chase, back to the equipment pad and everything, because you have a blank canvas in which to work. On the retrofit covers, which is a huge, huge market and largely untapped by the pool industry, there's 5.5 million plus pools out there, and then how many of them have automatic covers, right? It's just it's a fraction of a percent. It's very small, the number of covers to pools. So for us, it's exciting, not only for me but for my competitors. There's nowhere that we're ever going to reach saturation point with the product, because there's always pools being built that don't have covers. So the market, it truly is limitless for us. So that's very exciting. But to get to the answer to the question, why solar? Well, when you do a retrofit cover, you have to, with a different cover manufacturer, bring electrical to it. Okay. Or with our system, we could take the hydraulic power unit and remotely locate it, so we have no electricity near the pool, or keep the power pack within the bench and then bring electrical to it. Either way, you had to do some kind of underground work. And that could be very labor intensive and thus costly. If you have a pool and you've got 20 feet of deck in every direction, and the pool equipment is 100 feet around the other side of the house, now you start looking at the costs associated with doing all that, doing a saw cut in the deck. And some decks, you're just not going to do that kind of work because it's the type of material being used, you just couldn't do that, right? A beautiful travertine deck now with a saw cut, and you try patching it with other material, you're always going to see that. So we start looking at, okay, we've got to figure out an alternative way to power the system. So our solar hydromatic is still our, tried and true, all fluid drive hydraulic system that we, developed back in the late 80s. But instead of, doing with alternating current, and having a power unit plugged in at the equipment pad or hardwired, now we have a solar panel feeding our battery, which then, powers the hydromatic cover via a direct current hydraulic power pack. So this is now giving us, again, the opportunity for people to get into a cover system with a lot less grief, in terms of, tearing up their backyard, and also for less money. So it's a win for us and a win for the customer at the same time, right? We get to sell a product, and the customer gets to save money by putting in the product. So it's been very exciting for us, and then we've adapted that solar also to our Hydrolux and some other things as well. So we're just, for us now, where does this take us? We're just learning kind of as we go with this as well. So in the beginning we used 4 panels. Now we've since found a better panel that one solar panel equals the amount of storage or generation, not storage but generation, that the 4 panels will do, right? And we've learned battery technology, okay, which ones are better, right? We now have this lithium battery that even has you can, with Bluetooth, you can tell how much power is in there, right? So these are the kind of things that we are learning as we go as well.
Well, take us under the hood a bit, Tom. I mean, how does that hydraulic power pack system work, and what are the advantages over a traditional motorized system?
Well, the advantages over hydraulic, at least with ours, what makes our system unique, and there are variations of, people have tried hydraulic where they use a single motor system, but you have to change direction. So you still have that clutch, and that clutch is a lot of moving parts, in some cases, a lot of lubrication requirements, depending on the manufacturer. And what we did is, because we started off with electric cover back in the late 70s, but by the late 80s, we knew, okay, we wanted to go in a different direction. So what we do is we utilize 2 hydraulic torque motors or orbital motors. And, one motor is attached to the cover drum, which opens the cover. The other motor attaches to the rope reel, which closes the cover. And okay, you say, well, how do you activate those? Well, on the hydraulic power pack itself, which has the tank and the motor that pressurizes the hydraulics, there is a solenoid valve there. And as you turn the key to either open or close, that solenoid valve shifts and opens up that port and then pushes the fluid down that hose to activate that motor, be it open or close. And by doing an all fluid drive, we eliminated all mechanical linkage. So there's nothing to engage or disengage, and there are 0 lubrication requirements on this system. And all those hydraulics, because it is so simple yet robust, are supported by a 20-year warranty. And you can say, wow, that's a long time. How can you do that? Well, if I can digress for a moment, if you've been through a car wash with the orbital brushes on a car wash, those are the same motors that we're using to power our hydraulic drive, right? We didn't invent hydraulics, but we invented the hydraulic pool cover. So we looked at other industries and what is being used and what is very robust. So you can appreciate that even if we only get 1 year of warranty on that hydraulic torque motor from our supplier, we're giving you, the end user, 20, because in a car wash application, that motor is probably spinning, in that one day for an entire, what would be a year of a pool cover or even more. So in our application, it just does not get any negative wear aspect for it. So that's why we're happy to give, the end users a full 20-year warranty on any of the hydraulic components, because it's simple yet very robust. And it's been proven in many other industries. We just took it and packaged it to suit our need. And yeah, we have over 35 patents, just in the automatic cover sector, with our hydraulics and some of the related components.
Well, when we speak about energy efficiency and environmental impact of automatic pool covers, how does the solar hydromatic pool cover stack up and contribute to energy savings for pool owners? And what kind of environmental benefits can users expect from using a solar hydromatic cover?
Yeah, that's a great question, Joe. And this truly is the hot button topic of our time right now. Is about energy efficiencies, environmental concerns. Evaporative loss is huge on a pool, right? I can't tell you how many tens of thousands of gallons will be lost if you're in a hot climate. You add a little bit of wind to that, right? Next thing you know, you're pulling an inch or two off of water, in some cases a day. So you have to then replenish that water. And not only do you have to replenish that water, you have to then retreat that water chemically and reheat that water, right? And so your pump and filtration time, your chemical costs, your water consumption. And, for folks that are listening that are in the area of Southwest, water is getting very expensive. And there's a good study, and you can find it on our website at aquamatic.com, and you go in the technical downloads. There is or in the FAQ section as well, there's an evaporative loss study that you can download, a PDF that was done by Cal Poly, where they had all these vessels lined up and they compared all the covers, or different types of things. And so, that data is real. Some people say, they can look at you a little bit and say, oh, you're just trying to sell something. No, we've, along with the Cal Poly and the U.S. Department of Energy, you've got two, independent parties that say, yes, these things really work. And so the minute a pool cover is installed, it starts paying for itself. So, and at some point, and this changes for everybody depending on how they use their pool, how big their pool is, their geographical location, right? Warmer, colder, etc. But at some point, you being the end user, will realize a 100% return on investment of the pool cover. So again, because you've reduced or basically eliminated the evaporative loss, right? So it's like, air conditioning a house without a roof, right? It just is a bit of a cliche, but you just wouldn't do it, right? And so, you see all these pools, and sometimes I see pools, I see nice designs, and certainly on new construction, if it's a rectangle and have everything hidden, and I shudder to think I see a photograph of this perfectly rectangular pool and a new construction, and there's no cover included, and for people to say, well, it's this cost or that cost. Again, you amortize that over the cost of the pool and the life of the cover. It's nothing. It's a very small amount. Yes, there's the initial investment, but your payback is exponential.
Tom, the question that comes up most frequent: what is the typical installation process like for the solar hydromatic cover, and is it suitable to self-install?
Yeah, in fact, all of our covers are designed, not only builders or homeowners. We're the only cover manufacturer that lets people, DIY it. So, I know other cover manufacturers have said, no, you have to have an authorized installer. But frankly, Joe, I've seen end users, that have done their installations, and they have skin in the game, if you know what I mean, right? They're doing it themselves. They're not rushed to go off to the next job. These things are absolutely perfect, right? So, yeah, we have no issues providing the cover, be it a builder or an end user, and if they want to do it themselves. So, we've got support manuals, and they can call in, full-time tech people to walk through that. So there is zero issue with that. And now we're in a global community, right? We've shipped covers to 66 countries around the world. So why should we deny somebody the access to the product if there isn't a authorized installer in the area, right? So, we're happy to send them to whoever. But to get back to answer the question, yeah, the system is very simple in its design. In fact, the most difficult part of doing, let's say, a retrofit to do the solar hydromatic is just making sure your tracks are equidistant and at the correct dimension, right? So if you have a rectangle pool, it's certainly very, very easy. But if you have, let's say, have a free form pool, you establish that rectangle with the tracks over the maximum width and length. And so you just have to, do your diagonals, do your space width, and make sure those numbers are right. And then you start drilling the tracks down. The mechanism itself assembles with only 4 bolts. That's it. 4 bolts, the entire system is assembled. So, and it lines itself up, with the back of the track, so you can't misalign that. So assuming your tracks are straight, yeah, this thing kind of locks into the back of the track. So your positioning fore and aft is absolutely spot on, and 2 people can easily do one in 4 or 5 hours.
What materials are used in the construction of the actual cover material itself?
The cover material is an extruded coated vinyl. There's a Dacron substrata in there, kind of a ripstop, which gives it its strength and durability, and then it's extruded vinyl and then coated as well. We have 6-foot rolls and 7-foot rolls, and there's just different suppliers that we have. But then so every 6 or 7 feet, you're going to see, and this is with any cover system, you're going to see a seam there where the covers are heat sealed together, right? You take a panel and you heat seal. It's basically bonding the two vinyl panels together. And sometimes you'll hear the term welding. It's not welding like your TIG welding or anything like that, but you heat seal and weld the fabric together. And then so you get your size, and then you trim it down, and then you have your webbing, your rope and your webbing, which feeds into the track, and all that kind of technology is the same. All from one manufacturer to another. There are different materials that are used, different colors available, but it's for that really, it's kind of like tire technology, right? You got Michelin's, Bridgestones, and Continentals. Say they're all round and they're black, right? And so maybe you have slightly different compound, if it's all weather or if it's an extreme summer tire for a sports car, that sort of thing. And so for the pool cover vinyls, there really isn't a whole lot of difference from brand X, Y, or Z. We have the greatest color range available. So we have 11 standard colors, and then 5 designer colors. So we have the largest color range available.
Yeah, I was playing around with that design your cover feature on the website that lets you customize in real time what your pool cover is going to look like. So the Hydromatic cover is available in those designer colors like your other products?
Yes.
And the same thing with a lid that covers it. That's customizable too?
Yes, you can do many things with that. Our base lid is an injection molded composite polymer. So on our recessed covers, you can have that. Comes in 6 different colors. If you're doing the retrofit, like in the Solar Hydromatic, we have a prefabricated bench kit that we will actually basically pre-assemble for you at the factory. So again, making it very easy for that DIY person to install. Nice thing about that injection molded composite polymer component is the color's all the way through, so it doesn't fade. It has a 10-year warranty, structural warranty, and as opposed to some people have done wood benches and things like that. But there's maintenance that we're putting out this product that requires zero maintenance. And so that's our base lid. And then recess covers, of course, you can do masonry lids. You can do just about anything you want then. And that's not really part of the pool cover. That's just a cover that hides the pool cover, right? That becomes a function of construction. Although we provide the components to allow the builder to apply that material on top.
You mentioned something earlier in our conversation. Like, I can't believe some of these photos I see where somebody built a beautiful new pool and there is no cover on it. Now, the CDC says the number of drowning deaths is on the rise. We know that pool covers are one of the levels on the pool safety pyramid. How do you feel that Solar Hydromatic pool cover enhances the safety of swimming pools?
Well, we have a saying, Joe, we've been using for years. It speaks volumes. It's the pool cover is safety you can see. We run into situations where certain jurisdictions, be it inspectors, even though like in the state of California right now, an ASTM approved safety cover is considered one of the barriers. But there in Sacramento County, which is close to where you are, there's an inspector running around not allowing covers as the safety barrier. So he's requiring people to put up a fence, which fences can, go through, under, over, or if the gate isn't, sometimes gates, they hit so hard they pop back open or they're not sealed the whole way. With a pool cover, it's, that it's there, right? It's safe, you can see. Plus, in the 44 years we've been in business, we've never had an accident. As far as I know, the rest of the industry has never had an accident with one of their cover systems. So, but of these drownings, how many of those are in the backyard pool? Most are, and most are people from within the home, right? Not outside, not the kid from 2 or 3 doors down, although it does happen. Usually it's people within the home or visitors to that home, and they've been fenced, and the fences, still haven't provided the barrier that safety cover does. So again, I'm repeating myself, but it's safety you can see. Cover's closed, and you can put any amount of kids and adults on there, and that's how strong these are. Like I say, we as an industry, Aquamatic and my fellow competitors, got a great, 100% track record.
Who are the primary customers best suited for this product? I mean, what kind of feedback have you received from your existing customers?
Yeah, the Solar Hydromatic is certainly geared to that, what we call the retrofit market, to the existing pools. Now, most of our business that we do with the pool industry is builders on new construction. Although a small percentage of those builders do, maybe they have a service department. So, they have a captive audience relative. They're in their backyard servicing their pools, with weekly chemical maintenance, that sort of thing, right? So John Q. Public might ask Scuba Steve, who's doing the pool, hey, what do you know about pool covers? And then they'll offer that. But a lot of the new construction builders we work with don't. They build the new pools, they're done, they move on to the next one. So primarily it's end users that are buying this product that find us online. The many ways online can find you, right? They're almost countless now. They can link to a magazine or to this podcast, and then trails down, right? The trickle down. Sometimes you don't know how they got to you, but they just said they found you online. But we're seeing more builders now because certainly now in this economy, things getting a little tighter in some markets. They're looking like, hey, I can add some money to my bottom line by offering these products. Yeah, okay, I haven't done this before, but I can install a cover on an undertrack, on a recessed, a new construction. Why not do it on a retrofit? Because it's actually easier. So, it's less time, it's faster. So we're seeing some growth there in the pool industry. It's like, hey, yeah, there's money here. There's revenue for my business. But right now, the retrofit covers are predominantly end user direct sales.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for taking the time to tell us more about this unique solar powered automatic cover system. It's always a pleasure to have you with us on the show.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoy having the time here to sit down and chat with you, Joe. Really appreciate it.
Well, that's all the time we have left today. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and we'll catch you next time on another episode of Pool Magazine Podcast.
PAL Lighting is a globally distributed line of wirelessly controlled underwater LED lighting and controls for pools, spas, landscapes, water features, and outdoor accent lighting. Our passion is to be able to light up any space, whether it's a pool or spa, an outdoor living area, or anything else in between. The result is the most powerful, reliable, and diverse line of wirelessly controlled lights in the aquatics industry that are fully compatible with today's major pool automation systems. Light up the night with PAL Lighting. Ready to learn more? Visit us on the web today at pallighting.com.